Maybe. All right. So also about like driving and stuff, buses and taxis, there are different levels here.
Yes.
So you should probably know this, especially for when you get out at the airport.
Yeah,
if you're at the airport, you don't want to take the wrong taxi.
Right. So there are, if I remember correctly, 3 kinds of taxis. There's your regular taxi, which will be pretty much any color other than, it's either yellow or black. I can't remember which. I want to say it's black. So if the car is white or it's silver or whatever and it has a taxi bar, that's generally your regular standard taxi. There's going to be one, which is the other end of the spectrum, which is the deluxe taxi, which is not even going to be a car. It's going to be like a minivan or an SUV. And, you know, this dude's going to get out. He's going to help you load your luggage.
It's going to cost you.
You know, it's also going to cost you $80 to get to Seoul.
At least.
Whereas a regular cab, it'll probably cost you about $15, $20 to get to Seoul from the airport. There's a one in the middle,
too.
which
Is that like the orange one, maybe?
I think those are the ones that are either yellow or black that I'm not thinking of. They're slightly more expensive than the regular ones, but instead of the basically instead of them charging you like, you know, 10, 15,000 won to get to Seoul or whatever, it's going to be more like 20, 25.
So make sure you ask for your pricing up front. You know what you're getting into. If you're getting into an SUV style taxi, know that you're paying top dollar for that. You know, just kind of be aware, like when you're getting in a taxi. Buses as well. There are different levels of buses.
So there's basically 2 types you need to worry about. One is going to be the city bus, and one is going to be the limousine bus. Limousine buses, well, they're comfy-er, but they also have very soft suspension. They're generally used either for going to the airport, like almost any city you're at. If you go to the bus terminal and ask for the airport limousine, you're going to get a ticket for the airport bus. They're also used for going from city to city. If you're in Seoul and you want to go to Osan or Daejeon or whatever, you know, you're going to be on this type of bus. If you get seasickness, you do not want to be on this bus. If you have to be on this bus, try to sit near the rear tires. If you're near the rear axle, you're near the engine, and that's as solid as the suspension is going to get. The front of the bus is going to be bouncy. The lightest because that's got that, you know, big empty space where the driver sits, and it does the...
Chuck's ridden enough of these that he could tell you can get pretty sick on the bus.
Yeah, I'm not generally a seasickness person, but I've gotten it once or twice on these buses. If you can, sit at or near the rear axle. Makes it a much smoother ride.
But to be fair, it is kind of nice when you take the bus, like if you're trying to go from, like say for us, Pyeongtaek to
Seoul or whatever. They have their own lane.
They have their own lane.
Yeah, that one is only for buses and basically like minivans. I think you have to have 4 or more people in the vehicle to be able to use it.
All right. So
now, on the other side of that is going to be the city buses. The city bus, one is going to have 2 doors. It's, you know, one in front and one in the middle. So
I've yet to ride the city bus.
You get on in the front, you get off in the middle. This one usually takes the T-Money card. So T-Money card, by the way, is the Korean version of a Metro card, but it can usually be used for the subway, for parking, for paying at the convenience store on occasion, depends on whether or not they take it. It can also be used on buses and at least in Seoul taxis, or at least most of them. There's a sign on it to tell you whether or not it takes T-Money, but you can use this one card for pretty much any mode of public transportation.
It's a pretty good deal.
At least in the big cities. But you get on, you know, you swipe your little T-Money card. There will be some seats. Trying to get a seat is almost a fight. And then there are like a bunch of like bars next to the seats where you can stand and hold, and there's hooks hanging from the seating that you can hold on to. City buses are an experience you should have at least once.
Notice in 2 years, I haven't had that experience. He's been kind.
Korean bus drivers don't care who's in their way.
You don't want to block them.
They have that "I'm the biggest car on the road, get out of my way" syndrome. I have literally seen and been on buses that will go from their little spot on the side of the road. They will turn their blinker on, they'll turn the wheel and hit the gas and cross 3 lanes of traffic. Koreans are used to it. They'll just, yeah, whatever. Okay, keep going. You know, first time that happened and I was on the bus, I thought I was gonna die.
So yeah, buses.
They're an experience. You should try it. Anyway, since that bus is going to take you somewhere, when you get to that somewhere, you may have a random level of air conditioning. So, depending on the size of the place you get to, if it's like a little place, like a little convenience store, one of those little run in and grab something places that's like this wide, you will probably have a fan on. That's about it. They're not going to turn the air conditioner on because the place is so small. Every time the door opens, they're just going to let all the air out, and they don't want to pay for that. Above that, you'll get some of your, lower standard size restaurants, somewhere that's 3 to 5 tables up to maybe like 10. They may have an air conditioning unit. Koreans, for the most part, do not do central air. They use these little split units. It'll either be like a standing unit in the corner, which may be about, 6 foot high?
Yeah.
And it'll have a little hose run through the wall to the outside, and the hot side unit will be out on the wall or out back or on the roof or wherever. It may even just be outside of a window in a little cage. Or it will be one of the little units that looks like it's out of a motel or something, except instead of being down near the floor, it's going to be up near the ceiling. And again, it'll have a little hose run through the wall to the hot unit on the outside. So those are really good at cooling a room. They're a lot more efficient than they used to be, and they're more efficient than a window unit like some people are probably thinking of. These are a whole different thing. One half of it is inside. There's a hose run to the outside, and then the other half of it is on the outside.
It's different too, because Koreans don't sweat the same way that we do.
Yeah, they do not.
They're not nearly as sweaty as we are.
Yeah, they have a whole different thing going on there.
So I don't know what that's all about.
Then you get to if you're going to like a big expensive restaurant or you're going to like a big department store, then they'll have like the big rooftop multi-ton, AC units, which causes its own problem because it might be 104 degrees outside and you go inside and it'll be 60. So, one, you're going from, it's hot to, oh my God, I'm freezing. And then when you get used to it being cool and you go back outside, you're like, it's nuclear, I'm dying. That's its own level of misery.
So I'm interrupting our list because I mentioned Daiso earlier and I don't want to forget Daiso because I love Daiso, like all other women here I know. So basically, if you're looking to come here and go shopping, your levels of stores are going to be Daiso being kind of sort of like a Dollar General, but not quite. It's under a Walmart, but not.
Think quality-wise, maybe slightly better than a Big Lots.
Yeah.
But the store is generally going to be about the size of a Dollar General.
And they typically, most things are not going to be super expensive. You'll find a lot of things that are 1,000 won, 5,000 won, 10,000 won. I've seen some things that were a little more pricey, but not a whole lot of things. So you've got Daiso, then you've got Home Plus, which I haven't been to yet, but my friends compare Home Plus to Walmart.
It's pretty much about the same thing as an E-Mart.
And no, E-Mart, they said, is the step up. E-Mart is the Target.
Yeah, it's fair enough.
All right, you're talking woman basis. So woman basis, Home Plus is Walmart, E-Mart is Target.
It also depends on the store you're going to.
But, so basically, you're looking at Walmart Target levels at Home Plus and E-Mart. So Daiso, a lot of my friends and I, we have a Daiso addiction. We go quite a bit. Typically, most of the time when we come across something that we might need, we'll check Daiso first. And it's not even all just about women for Daiso because they do have a tool section.
Yeah, they do have sections with like tools and
computer stuff.
Yeah. Hey, you can go get a keyboard for $5.
You can get the HDMI cable for $5.
Yeah.
They've got stuff for gardening there. I've seen plants there before. They've got snacks, so those are relatively cheap there. If you want to try a snack that you've never tried before, you can get those. The little coffee packs, they sell them in the smaller ones, so you could try the Korean coffee. It's just an all-around good place to go. Back to our list, we have Korean pizza. So Korean pizza here is going to be different than what you would expect. Almost every Korean pizza, without fail, will probably have corn on it. We don't know why.
Unless it specifically says it's like a pepperoni pizza and that's all it has on it. If it's a combination pizza, it's going to have corn on it.
It doesn't taste bad. Corn on a pizza is actually not bad.
I've heard some other places do it. I hear it's a thing in like England or Britain or whatever they call whatever that little island in north of Europe is called.
The United Kingdom.
That thing, yeah. So I hear they do that there as well. But yeah, if you're American, corn on pizza is just weird.
Also,
but
they'll have different
you get
types
used to
of
it.
crust as well. So, like, they'll have a crust that has, like, a sweet potato souffle around the ring, which surprisingly is actually really good on some pizzas.
So, In Korea, if anything says it's gold, if it says it's a gold pizza, that means it's got a sweet potato mousse on it. If it says potato, it's chunks of potato. If it says gold, it's some sort of like whipped or creamed sweet potato. It's not bad, but if like me, you don't know what that means and you look at the picture and you think it's like cheese, like it's a stuffed cheese crust pizza, and you take a big mouthful of it and you got a mouthful of sweet potato, you're not expecting it, so your brain freaks out and you don't know what to do about it. It's not bad. Trust me, I actually really like it, but you have to know what it is before you bite into it, or the crossed signals will hurt you. It literally will make your brain hurt.
There's also like different types of, like we've got the last one we've been getting recently was Pizza Avolo.
Yeah, there's a chain in Korea called Pizza. It's either Avolo or Aviolo or something. It's an Italian sounding name. Their crust has some sort of, what is it, like Korean black rice or bean?
Black rice or bean or something. It's something like that. So the crust looks like purple with like black specks in it.
It's kind of purplish.
And I've been to one place where they actually made a squid ink pizza crust, which I did not try. But anyway, so pizza. We've had Domino's. It was pretty good. We've had Pizza Hut. It was pretty good.
Like I said, the weirdest thing usually is, well, two things. One, they will put some odd toppings on there and some odd combinations that
you have to watch what you're ordering.
You would have never thought of.
Look at the picture closely because Koreans love seafood and they will throw seafood on everything.
Yeah, Google Chrome will also auto-translate, so the translations are often a bit weird, but it'll help. It's a starting point. The other thing is that Koreans tend to like their crust soft. You know, if you're like me and think you ought to be able to grab a piece of pizza and fold the tips up and pick the whole piece up and eat it, not going to happen here. You'll pick it up and everything will fall off of it because it's just going to go.
To be fair, if you're looking for your New York style pizza, head up to Itaewon and check out our friends at Maddox because that's where you're going to find your good one. And
Gino's is a good one too. Or learn how to make pizza.
Yeah.
You got to get used to, it's not American pizza. It's not Italian pizza. It's Korean pizza.
Open mind is the best.
They're going to do it their way.
All right. So then we've got
real estate. So
your realtor is going to be your go-to person. They're going to be amazing. Make sure you're good to them.
So there are, in general, 3 levels of doing real estate. One is the one you're thinking of. That's you go in, you put in a security deposit, or as they call it here, key money. Your key money is like a month's rent, and then you pay a certain rent every month, blah, blah, blah. Then they have a second level, which is kind of a weird sliding scale. So the more key money or the more deposit you put down, the less your rent is. So if your rent is $1,000 a month and your key money was $1,000 or $1,200 or whatever you agreed upon, you know, you're going to pay that $1,000 every month for your rent. But say you go in, and by all means, do not hold me to any of these numbers. I'm pulling them right out of the air. But if your rent is supposed to be $1,000 a month and you put down, say, $5,000 for key money, your rent might be $800, $850. You know, you can negotiate. If you have more money to put down, like right now, your monthly rent will go down at an equivalent, well, not straight. You know what I mean.
Basically, the monthly that you pay will go down because you put more in, which I'm guessing they probably put in the bank and hold in the bank, and they have interest that draws off of that, and that's why that happens. That would be my guess.
Yeah,
Don't hold me to that either.
This all works up to a real estate thing that, as far as I know, only works in Korea. I've never heard of this anywhere else. But they have something called a junse. The weird idea on this is that somebody owns this apartment because you're going to be renting it from them. That person has obviously got the real estate agent renting it out for them. You come in and you give them, depending on where the apartment is and how good / new of an apartment is, it might be anywhere from $70,000, $80,000 to, I've heard, upwards of $300,000, $350,000 in sold for a period of time. That's negotiable. It may be a year, it may be 2 years, but you give them this $150,000, whatever amount of money, and then you have no rent for that time period. You pay your bills, Obviously you got to pay your water and your power and all that good stuff. That's not part of your rent. But you have no monthly rent. Now, the thing that makes absolutely no sense in this is that at the end of that period, you get your money back. So if you gave him $100,000 for a 1-year thing, at the end of that year, he gives you your $100,000 back. Only thing I can think of is that they're supposed to invest this in some like high return bonds or stocks or something.
We know of one person that's done this, but we don't know much about it.
Right. Now, this can be both a good and a bad thing, because at the end of your year, they may allow you to carry on for another year for the same amount, or they may come back and say, hey, other people are renting these places for more, so if you want to stay here, you have to give me, $50,000 more. At which point you can either, if you have the money and you want to, pay the new amount for the next year, or you can tell them to pound sand and go find another place to live. But caveat to that, because I used to work with some people up in Seoul who've been in Korea for, 8, 10, 12 years, they got a little more experience in this. If you do a jinsei, when you pay your thing and you get your document from the realtor saying that you paid this and they're supposed to give you your money back on such and such date, take it down to your local city hall and register it. Because if it's not registered, it's not backed by the city.
And if it's backed by the city, it's a guarantee you get your money back regardless.
Right. If you come back up to day XYZ and, dude goes, well, I've only got 80 grand of your 100 grand that I could give you, so you can go down to the city hall and tell them, like, hey, you guys verified this thing and registered it, and he won't give me my money back. And the city will go make him give you your money back. Now, if his idea of investing was he decided to go gambling with it and he lost his ass, and that's why he can only give you, 80 of your 100 or 50 of your 100 or whatever back, they will make him get the money from somewhere to give to you, because that's his fault. On the other hand, if you do not register it with the city,
that's your fault.
That's your fault. They'll say, you didn't register it. You have to settle it with him. And, that's up to you. You can go punch him in the face and try to make him give it back to you. Don't go punch him in the face.
No, you don't want
Or you can try to go through the Korean legal system, which I've never touched. I know nothing about.
From what I understand from some people that have been through the Korean legal system, it moves about as fast as the American.
Right. So it's going to be slow. It's going to be hard. And as a foreigner, you're probably just going to lose. Oh. So always register any big deals like that with the local city.
Korean helpful.
Yes, Korean helpful.
So we've mentioned that in another video, but we haven't really gone over that. So Koreans are extremely helpful. They want to help you.
They want to be helpful so much that they will get in the way. It's like, oh, I will help you do this, and don't know anything about what they're doing, and literally just get in the way, slow you down, and you have to fix what they did. But because they're trying to help you, you're supposed to be glad about it.
We went to this one place with our friend, and the lady who was the owner became enamored with us so much that she was like, oh, we will be friends. You will teach me English. And I was like, I'm working full time right now. I don't really have time to, and I was taking classes at that time. I was like, I don't have time to teach anyone English. I would love to help you, but I can't. So it was very awkward. And then we see our Korean friend probably, every week or so?
Normally every week or two,
we were going to have dinner with him, and he says, hey, is it okay if I bring a friend? And we're like, yeah, sure, that's fine. Well, he brings her, and she's like, I will cook for you. And we'd been out all day, like running errands all day long. My kitchen's a mess. I hadn't cleaned. I hadn't done anything. And she's like, oh, I will use your kitchen and I will cook. And I'm like, no, my kitchen's a mess. Oh, I'll clean your kitchen. No, we're just going to go out to eat, because that's what we were expecting to do anyways. Then when we went to dinner, it was really weird, because she was like, she wants to take a picture with you guys. And then she's taking pictures with us and sending them to her family.
To prove that she has like American, I've got foreign friends.
It was awkward enough that I had to ask my friend to explain to our Korean friend that's not something that I'm comfortable with.
You got that, where they want to be friends so much they just kind of interject themselves. And then you got the ones that I will help you. So once upon a time, and this was back in the day, this was before I married my ex. So we're 15, 16 years ago, something like that. It was actually the first time I had come to Korea. I finally graduated college, and I was like, I'm going to take a vacation. I am going to go see some stuff. What is as far away from here as I can get on the planet? And basically it was either Japan and Korea or Australia. And Australia has way too much stuff that wants to kill you. So I went to Japan and Korea. So I spent a couple days in like Tokyo and Kyoto and whatnot, and came over to Korea. My ex, I had met on some online thing for like pen pal or e-pal communication, whatever. One of those things where you just meet random people and talk to them for a while. Anyway, so I'd met her on there and we'd been talking, and I told her I was like going to Japan and Korea for my vacation. And she was like, oh, well, we'll meet you and we'll, you know, take you around and show you some stuff. And I'm like, cool. Tour guide. Awesome. Actually, that was a pretty good trip.
No way.
Well, her mother is one of those, let's go here, see this. All right, now let's go here, see this kind of people. But they hired a taxi to be the tour guide. So the taxi guy was taking around showing us stuff. Okay. And the taxi guy was like, slow down. I think he chose some of the places to take us. So that actually is a thing you can do in Korea. You can actually hire a taxi to be your tour guide and take you around and show you stuff. While we're on one of these places, we were at a temple or something. You've seen similar things in movies and cartoons and whatnot. There's a little thing up on a mountain and there's like 487,392 steps to get to it. So you're walking up this mountain. You know, about halfway up this Mount Everest we're walking up, sweating like a hog, and they thought of this. There's a convenience store halfway up the mountain. This is brilliant. I go into this convenience store. We won't mention the outdoor squat toilets. That was, squat toilets are a thing here, look it up. So went to the bathroom, went to this little convenience store, you know, got myself a big old bottle of cool water, which was, it was like 1,100 won. It's like 95 cents, something like that. And my, at this point in time, yet-to-be mother-in-law came from across the store, like ran over 3 other people to get to the register to pay for my bottle of water. It's $1. I can handle it. I'm good. You know, but, you know, she wanted to be helpful. She wanted, you know, to show that they were nice people, but it was, it's the level to which they will go. They will not let you pay for your drink. It's nice to offer. I have learned over time that Koreans in general will, if you offer something, they won't accept till the second or third time you offer. Like I said, it's various situations. You know, sometimes they'll offer you food. I have literally like had dinner with them. And if you're like me, I'm not big on dessert. I eat dinner. So I generally, by the time I get up from the table, I'm done. You know, and I'll go sit down in the other room and, you know, it's like 13 seconds since I just got up from the table, and they're already coming in with like one of those little Korean tray things with like an apple and a pear on it. Like, oh, here, have some fruit. And I'm like, no, I just ate like 4 pounds of dinner because you kept giving me stuff. I'm done. It's like, oh, here, have some fruit. They'll damn near shove it down your throat. They will be helpful. They will show their hospitality whether you like it or not. Like I said, it's not a bad thing.
But something you should be accustomed, like
it gets to certain levels where when you're from another culture and you don't know what to make of it, it almost gets abrasive. They're so nice, if that makes any sense. Anyway, so this video is going to wind up being longer than I intended anyway. So we're going to try and get this done and edited for you guys because I didn't do anything else this week and I've got to get it out.